Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel and give this video a like.
Check out the podcast below in the description. Do it now.
All right, checking in on Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock draft, John. A trade for the Niners. He has them moving up to number 7 by trading number 12 and their second-round pick, number 43, to the Detroit Lions. Drafting Justin Fields. It's two parts. Can you get Fields at 7? Would the Lions do that deal? Would the Niners want to do that deal? So maybe there's 3 parts. What do you think?
Todd. We need Caliendo. Listen, you know where I stand on this. I'm taking a swing. And I want the 49ers to take a swing with a talented quarterback in this draft. And there have been connections to Kyle and Justin Fields. Kyle has this Shanahan quarterback camp that LaFleur's and the McVays, and they've all been there, and Justin Fields attended. So he knows the guy. Now, he's not some finished product. He's kind of raw. As Kyle mentioned this year, he saw a raw product turn into a star. He kicked his ass this year, Josh Allen. This guy is way more accomplished, and as we talked about on Wednesday, it's pretty nuts that it's actually, I think, pretty cool that the rivals number 1 and 2 players in the country 3 years ago were Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. I feel pretty good if I'm making those rankings, right? If Justin Fields might not go second in the draft, but if he's a top 10 pick, it's all you can ask for. That means something to me. And one thing that's going to happen though, in texting with some people, and it's just the way the league works. If you want to trade from 12, to 6 or 7, let's use the Eagles or use the Lions, they deserve to get $1.30 on their pick, like $1.30, $1.40 for that dollar. And so the trade value chart would say, 1 and a 2 would probably equal pretty damn close.
Yep.
To me, if I'm the Lions, I don't think it's insane to go, can we get your 1 and your 2 and your 2 next year? And you might be like, oh, hell no. Well, do you end up your 1, your 2, and your 3 next year? Because we've seen before. If you believe this, your franchise quarterback, would Andy Reid, or it's kind of weird saying this guy's name, Bill O'Brien, who just hit me the other day, like, God, that guy's a coordinator at Alabama. Would they have done the deal for their quarterbacks, their 1 and their 2nd, or whatever they did to move up that year, and a next year's 3rd round pick? Of course they would have, looking back, right? Remember, we thought it was so crazy, and this is also it's weird when you look back, but when the Cardinals traded with the Raiders to go from 15 to 10, and the Raiders only got a 3rd round pick, it's like, they're coming for a quarterback. Just tell them no. You should have got more than that.
Yeah,
remember?
that yes, absolutely, and that's the key, right? Is like part of doing that deal if you're Detroit is if you think they're coming for it. Actually, let me phrase it this way: if we're looking at the deal from the outside, and the Niners move up and take a left tackle, you wouldn't think anything, or if they move up and take a linebacker, you wouldn't think anything of, we gave you 12 and our 2, we'll move up and we'll call it even. Because you're right, that is basically what the draft value chart says. 43.
I would make them tell me who they're taking. If I'll do the deal.
When you know it's a quarterback, it feels like you should be getting more. Because if here's what I know, if they drafted Justin Fields and then the Lions at 7, and the Niners said, we want Justin Fields, the Lions said, okay, what do you give us? And the Niners said, we'll give you 12 and 43. We'd go, wait, they just traded Justin Fields for 12 and 43? It wouldn't feel like enough, right? So you're
saying if they could do like NBA level trades.
Yeah, if they just had Justin Fields, and then it was you're trading Justin Fields. What are you trading him for?
For sure.
12 and 43. So I agree with you, even though I think you'd have to throw a little something extra in. But it's not prohibitive. We're not talking about like another 1 here, right?
Agreed.
I don't.
It's not that far.
Yeah,
no,
I think Mel's close. Is the point?
Yeah.
Like I think Mel's pretty close. I do think sometimes
20 to 7 would get expensive, right?
Because you're 20, I'm not looking at that like a 1 if I'm giving you 7.
Yeah, the Niners are lucky in the sense that they sucked enough, and their quarterbacks fucked them in so many games. Could have sucked a little more, but were able to suck enough to be high enough to be in the conversation. Because I think if they had gone 8-8 and still missed the playoffs, right, and we were talking them at like 18-19, the conversations would be a little different. It would hurt. This doesn't hurt as much because you're pretty close, and I think you start going, if you're the Lions, these quarterbacks are moving good players down. We're going to get a left tackle at 12 or whatever, right? We feel pretty good about it, especially when we know the Niners are pushing another guy down.
The other part of any mock draft.
That's why I got to know if I'm Meathead Dan and Spielman. you have to tell me, the player, if I'm going to agree to the deal. That happens sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Like, we refuse to tell you we're not taking your player. But I couldn't even guarantee that your player is going to be there at 12, right?
Yeah, see, that's where it doesn't help you if you're the Lions. Like, you'd want to know just for the price. Where it's the Niners and the Bears flip-flopping 2 and 3, well, yeah, the Niners would want to know that you're not taking Solomon Thomas. But they didn't even they just kind of told him, we're not taking your guy, or you're not going to want who we are taking, right? Was basically what they told him.
True.
The other part of any mock draft,
I do think the Lions, let's say they were dead set on taking an offensive lineman right there. Let's say somehow like Penei Sewell was there, and they're like, listen, if you're trading up to get Penei Sewell, we'll just take him here. Now, we need these extra picks, and we're willing to take another tackle there. You have to tell us you're not taking that guy or whatever, right?
Yeah, that would work. But you're right. Like, even then, that's where you would love to be able to, if you were Detroit, ideally what you would do is you would take the guy the Niners want, make sure, but then it's hard. Then you're stuck with him if your guy, the guy you want,
it's
isn't
complicated.
there. Yeah. I was going to say the other part of a mock draft is, part of it is just, hey, here's some fun ideas. Mel Kiper's been doing the draft since the beginning of the draft.
Yeah.
Part of this is this Mel just having some fun, or is this Mel saying, I think the Niners kind of like Justin Fields? That's what I would ask Mel if he were here right now.
I'd say he's been here long enough to, I wouldn't just say it feels random, right? I don't think he's just pulling things out randomly and placing them on the board.
Yeah.
Right?
Mel's nice getting off the lake, spending an hour and a half drinking a lemonade, doing a mock draft, and getting back on the lake.
When you say how long's Mel been doing the draft, you know what I think of? That 30 for 30 on the Marino draft and the Elway draft. And remember, the Colts owner was like talking shit, or the GM, about Mel. Like, who's this guy I think he is? That was 1983. That was before you and me were alive. And he's still pumping out mock drafts in 2021. So
Legend.
I think it speaks to, this guy knows a lot of freaking people and knows a lot of things when it comes to this. When I think the NFL draft, one of the first people I think of is Mel Kiper. So it excites me to know that maybe there is some validity to this, not just me kind of placing, they were together at a camp and I bet Kyle kind of likes him. Kyle,
but that's something too.
Yeah.
That's something too. And then the other part of it is, Justin Fields has to be available at 7 for this trade to work, right? He has to get past the Eagles.
They're a wild card.
I'm
confident they're not, though some people, it's so early in the process, it's hard to know.
You're confident they're not going to take a quarterback, or that they wouldn't trade back?
I'm confident right now that they're not pulling the trigger on a quarterback.
So,
they're more likely to take Penei Sewell, more likely to take Jamar Chase, more likely to take Kyle Pitts, more likely to do something like that, a Pat, whatever, and just give Jalen Hurts his year and then figure it out from there. But I think you could easily justify, how often are the Eagles picking the top 6? Probably rarely in the last 2 decades, where you just go, how often do you pass on an opportunity like this?
Yeah, I think I'm in the minority where I don't care that they drafted Jalen Hurts last year in the second round. If they think the guy that's available to them at 6 is a better prospect and a better player, then I wouldn't worry about the fact that people are going to give me shit because I drafted a quarterback last year.
But you might not. Honestly, you might be the majority. I think most people think Jalen Hurts isn't that good. I'm just leaning on the Eagles said that.
Yeah. Well, I would totally understand if they said, we just took this guy, we don't really quite know what we have, we think it might be good, so we're not going to draft a quarterback at 6. That makes sense. I wouldn't let the fact that you took him prevent you from taking a better player if you think he's a better player. That's all. So
that's usually the right way to do business.
We'll update this every time we talk about Justin Fields. As of today, do you think Justin Fields lasts to 7?
Yes. I think sometimes the quarterbacks get overrated how high they're going to go. I also,
especially with other good
think
players.
We have 2 major, and we're going to talk about this until we can't talk about it anymore. We have 2 major wild cards at pick 2 and 3. I mean, we got Tonga Bailoa, which it's not, they just took the guy 5th. It's not out of the realm of possibility. They just take Jamar Chase there and roll it back, right?
Yep.
And it is definitely not out of the realm of possibility that the fucking Jets just roll with Sam Darnold and take an offensive lineman there, right? Those easily 3 straight players could go. Trevor Lawrence, I'm pretty sure the Bengals are drafting 4.
Yeah.
So you could have 3 straight players go. Then you not
Atlanta's 4, Bengals are 5.
Okay, and Atlanta's got Matty Ice. They easily could just take a deep breath this year, take a sweet player, and it could push it down really fast.
Yep. You've got,
because I think it is a pretty big risk when you're a 5-year contract, new coach, new GM. Unless it's a no-brainer, it does feel like they don't usually take quarterbacks. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have to do like a deep dive on that one, but
I think it makes sense unless you love a guy and you think this is our shot. You don't do it just to do it right there. It speeds your clock up. It's just, especially
what
when
if
you
Matt
have
Ryan's got like 2 or 3 years left? Yeah.
Yeah. Although it feels like maybe 1 year and then he's tradable or cuttable or whatever.
What I'm saying, what if he's just good for you? Like, what if he's fine? You can just compete with him.
You can win 8 games and then win 9 games. You get a contract extension, and you're just this is living.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you'd say,
but if the other 2 guys are not traded, I think there are going to be players drafted 2, 3, 5. Like it's pretty clear, right, that it could get pushed down.
I think the Jets draft a quarterback.
Unless they keep Sam Darnold.
Well, yeah, my bet right now is that Sam Darnold's not the Jets quarterback next year.
Which we will know, that trade will happen in the next 3 weeks. The moment that happens, then I think we get more clarity.
Right. But even then, it's like, no, Justin Fields is not viewed as the number 2 quarterback right now. So.
No, but I'm saying then we just know, we start going, he's just kind of on the board by himself. That gets a little riskier.
Darnold could be on the Niners by then.
It's not out of the realm of possibility that Justin Fields goes above Sam Darnold. Right? I mean,
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah. No, you're right. Long way to go.
Long